What's good, word? How we doing today? I'm back with another reaction video. Appreciate everybody that's been tuning into all my videos and all the people that hit that like button, all the people that are actually hitting that subscribe button. Y'all are the real ones. Y'all are the reason I keep doing this channel. Today we're going to be doing 15 dark cartoon theories that will ruin your childhood with the finest. I am going to be trying out new things. Not going to explain that all over again, but I am going to be doing just a bunch of different shit until I figure out what I really want to be doing. But appreciate everybody that tunes in. Let's jump straight in.
Number 15. Squidward's Theory. If you're familiar with creepypastas, you're probably also familiar with the Squidward meme of him taking his own life. The terrifying meme started in the dark corners of the internet like 4chan and Reddit, where people would modify still images of the show SpongeBob SquarePants and add a little horror and creepiness to it, hence the name.
It's funny because that episode used to scare the fuck out of me when I was a kid, bro. Like, yo, why? Squidward always used to look crazy, and when they would do like a remake of him or something like that, it used to always be like the ugliest version of
creepypasta. That's where the meme of Squidward taking his own life began. In the meme, you could see the fictional character with a black background and shiny red eyes. It was quite horrifying, actually, but it stayed amongst the horror fan base of the internet for years, till now. The show's animators decided to incorporate the meme in one of their episodes, which is very strange since the main demographic of the spectators are still children, and the subject is a little dark, to say the least. The episode in question shows SpongeBob and Squidward as they explore a town that mysteriously doesn't adhere to the rules of logic. Then, suddenly, a row of doors appears, and Squidward proceeds to open one of them to see what's on the other side, only to find alternate versions of himself. At this point, the episode is already quite nightmarish, but it gets worse. One of the doors clearly shows him after taking his own life, and it's terrifying.
Before we go on, like this video, smash this on your face when you're...
Number 14.
See, I just try to promote in the middle of my video while I'm watching his video.
Toy Story 3 is about the Holocaust. As crazy as dark cartoon theories go, this might be the darkest. Some people believe that Toy Story 3 is about the Holocaust. You know, when Adolf Hitler killed 6 million people. How can a children's movie be about such a...
Like, how the hell are you gonna explain that? Like, how is Toy Story 3 about the Holocaust?
Dark episode of our past? Well, for starters, the speech that Woody gives at the beginning of the film is almost identical to one in The Pianist, an award-winning Holocaust drama made by Roman Polanski. All the toys then decide to seek refuge in the attic, which is clearly a reference to Anne Frank, who was a Jewish little girl that had to hide in an attic from the Nazi soldiers. The toys are then all crammed into a box and taken away to a daycare center, which is a clear reference to the trains that took people to the concentration camps. You could argue that a daycare center's not a concentration camp, but in the movie, it isn't a happy place for the toys. The children constantly abandon them until they are too damaged. They then get sent down the waste chute, which might also be considered as a gas chamber.
Like, yo, this is nothing to do with the Holocaust. I just feel like they were trying to stretch how toys get used and abused and thrown out when they're finished. They weren't. I don't even think there's a similarity at all.
Similarities are too many to be a coincidence. Number 13. Mr. Krabs rescued Pearl from the hunters. There are a lot of different theories about Mr. Krabs and his daughter, Pearl, because as we all know, it would be impossible for a crab to have a whale as a daughter. The theory that seems to be the most accepted by the fans is the one that says he accidentally rescued Pearl when she was a baby because some hunters or fishermen killed her mother.
No, baby, no more crying! We'll get you a date!
So, seeing the little Pearl all alone and scared, Mr. Krabs just took her with him and raised her as his own. This theory really fits because, for example,
I was gonna say, it's the only theory so far that actually fits and actually makes sense. Because he's a crab. and we've never actually seen her
Mr.
mom.
Krabs has shown extreme fear of hooks and has repeatedly warned Patrick and SpongeBob of the grave danger of being near them. Also, Mr. Krabs loves money and he hardly ever spends it or gives it to anyone. But if Pearl asks him for money, he gladly gives it to her. Maybe he feels bad because he couldn't save her mother. There are many other theories about this subject, but this is the one that seems to fit the best. Keep it in mind the next time you watch the show. Number 12.
Alright, so far we got one that looks...
The Smurfs are anti-Semitic and racist. Antoine Bueno is a professor at the Paris-based university Sciences Po, and he recently published a book where he analyzes the Smurf society and political situation. Let me explain. He thinks the Smurfs children's TV show is anti-Semitic. He starts by stating that Smurfs live in a political dictatorship. They are discouraged from taking any kind of initiative, and they all eat together in the same communal room. There's only one leader, and they rarely leave their home country.
Papa Smurf! Are you all right?
I'm fine.
It's starting to sound like communist Russia, and there's more. Papa wears a... He starts by stating that Smurfs live in a political dictatorship. And then we have the #1 enemy of the state, Gargamel, which Bueno says is an anti-Semitic caricature of a Jew. In other words, your favorite kids show is a totalitarian utopia. There's even one episode where the Smurfs are bitten by a fly and their skin turns black and they lose the ability to speak. And that clearly has colonial overtones and also profound and clear racist traits. The craziest part about this
one's cat, bro. They're literally in a world. Hold on, I don't want to say a world, but they're literally in this little forest with mushrooms, and they're all blue. They're literally chased by a white guy 24/7. They literally, I was just gonna say, interact with literally all the characters and everything around them, and they're always nice except obviously for the angry one. So like, I don't get it, and they never say nothing slick or nothing like that either. So it's like, I don't think this one's true.
This theory is that it fits perfectly. It was right in front of our eyes all this time, and we didn't even notice. Number 11. Snow White is a...
That one literally threw me off, because it's like, bro, they literally live in that society. If one leaves, they gotta leave together. If not, they might not make it
about
back.
cocaine
It's a cartoon show, like, it's a kid's show. Like,
and addiction. The theory that Snow White is about cocaine and addiction.
Snow White off the white girl.
The theory that the Disney movie Snow White is about cocaine addiction has been around for a long time, but it's easy to understand why. There are so many different coincidences that it might just be true. First of all, the name of the main character, Snow White. Now, I don't know if you know what cocaine looks like, but it is literally a white powder that looks exactly like snow. Then there are the names of the 7 dwarves, which are named after their personalities. And believe it or not, they match exactly the different stages of cocaine addiction and withdrawal. The first 2 are happy and grumpy, and those make a reference to the mood swings that are caused by using cocaine.
Jiminy crickets.
Gosh, gee,
What a monster.
covers 3 beds.
Addicts will have very aggressive mood swings several times a day. And then we have dopey, sleepy, and sneezy, which are nods to actual stages of being on the drug. Dopey literally means high. You sneeze a lot when you take cocaine because it's a powder and you take it through your nose. And then you finally feel incredibly sleepy after having spent all your energy running about.
Yo, this might be true. Excuse me. This might be true because I've always wondered with them. They're like, it just never made sense, bro. They're always weird.
And finally,
That one might be true. That one might be true.
we have Snow White's Big Sleep,
And Disney made it, so they're sneaky.
which could be an overdose, or is that going too far? Number 10. Winnie the Pooh and friends have serious psychological disorders. It has long been speculated that every character in Milne's Winnie the Pooh series represents a psychological disorder, and recently the Canadian Medical Association Journal published an article where you can find every diagnosis. Pooh is believed to be suffering from, of course, binge eating disorder. That means he has very low self-esteem that he tries to balance by eating non-stop. In real life, it's a very serious disorder that lots of people suffer from.
Oh, that happens to be mine.
personal favorite.
Piglet was diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder, which means that everything would stress him out to a level of huge discomfort. Eeyore, on the other hand, was thought to have a dysthymic depressive disorder, basically a very serious case of depression. If you feel like your childhood feelings could take some more heartbreak, good, because there are some more diagnoses. Tigger's disorder seems quite obvious. He had ADHD because he was so hyperactive and impulsive. And finally, Rabbit was diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder. This can be extremely dangerous in real life. It makes for very toxic people that enjoy making others suffer. Which one did you feel you identified with as a child? So basically, Winnie the Pooh and friends were just a bunch of insane individuals completely denying
I was definitely Tigger when I was young. I was
their
this one could be true, but the difference is that, like, I think it was, like, supposed to be like that. Like, this is Christopher Wallace's toys. They're all supposed to be different. Like, that was
disorders, and
they all have their, like, different issues and different problems that they go through, and then they all try to solve them together, and that's what makes it,
in a way, validating each other's behaviors. If they were people, it would be called codependency, and it's not an easy thing to avoid. Number 9. Garfield is dying of starvation. A series of Garfield comic strips was released in October 1989 that literally freaked everyone out. They were about Garfield waking up only to realize he was in an empty and abandoned house, and finally accepting that not only was he alone, but that he had been for many years already. So basically, all the joyful strips that we are all so fond of a grumpy, lasagna-loving cat were merely Garfield's dream, his way to escape from the nightmare of his real life.
I can't believe you'd try to give Nermal away.
People were very quick to come up with their own theories. Some thought the cat had died and gone to hell. Others thought that Garfield was a stray cat starving to death and hallucinating about a home and an owner that fed him every day. The second theory is one that seems to make more sense, given that Garfield mainly only dreamed of food and is absolutely obsessed with lasagna. Although Jim Davis, the creator of Garfield, has often repeated that the Halloween strip was just a way of freaking people out, there were still a lot of skeptics out there that think all the other strips were a dream inside the Halloween one. What do you think?
That one's cap. I don't watch every episode of that shit when I was younger, and there was nothing like that. Like, and the Halloween one, I remember it did freak me out, but it was like, it's not like that. It was literally just spooky, you know? Like that one episode of Zack and Cody that I'm sure everybody fucking remembers.
Number 8. Scooby-Doo was set during an economic depression. Have you ever wondered why it is that every single one of the places the characters in Scooby-Doo visit is completely run down? There is an urban legend that says it's because the show was set during a terrible economic crisis that was so devastated it even affected celebrities, famous athletes, and important scientists. Why else would all these people with the skill sets of having high-paying jobs devote their lives to petty crime by putting on costumes of scary monsters? It would also explain the fact that every school they visit is empty without any sign of student life anywhere.
But isn't that the point of them? Like they go and seek it. They don't have like a specific town that they stay in, right? I don't think so. From my memory, I don't remember that, but they literally go and look for the spooky spots in order to find the spooky guy that's scaring them.
Really said a frightful mouthful.
But we're not gonna let that scare him.
And finally, given that the gang is constantly driving their van with no clear destination, there's a big possibility they're simply homeless nomads. The other famous theory about Scooby-Doo is that him and Shaggy are very high all the time. And if you think
I was gonna say that the homeless part isn't true because they show their parents multiple.
about it, it fits. That's why they sleep all the time and they're constantly hungry, called the munchies.
And this one's common sense. They definitely.
It also explains why they're very slow and forgetful, all signs of marijuana smoking. And finally, the darkest theory for last. Some people think that Shaggy's actually a drug addict, aka a junkie, and his drug-induced hallucinations make him believe that his recently deceased dog is still alive and can even talk. I bet you'll never see this show the same way ever again.
I'm gonna stop it there. I'm gonna actually turn this one into a 2-part video, and I'm actually gonna upload them in like 2 days apart from each other. So it's gonna be like the same shit. Let me know what you guys thought of this one. some of these sounded like they could be on point, and then some of them just seemed like a little way too far-fetched, or like they were kind of dragging it. But let me know what the hell y'all think in the comments. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Check y'all out.